Trevor had spent 28 years working abroad. 20-8 years of dusty construction sites, sleepless nights, aching bones, and loneliness that grew heavier with every passing year. He had left his homeland as a young man with strong hands and hopeful eyes. Now he was returning as an aged man, his hair streaked with gray, his back slightly bent, and his heart tired. But Trevor was not empty. He carried savings meant for one purpose only: home, a small house, peace, rest, and memories of a woman he loved. His wife, Martha, had died 2 years ago. Cancer. A slow, cruel death that drained her body and left Trevor helpless, watching from a foreign land, sending money instead of touch, prayers instead of presence. By the time he returned for her funeral, she was already cold. That guilt stayed with him, burned into his soul. Martha had a daughter from her first marriage, Alina. Trevor had raised Alina since she was 7. He paid her school fees. He sent her gifts. He funded her college. He even helped arrange her engagement. But blood has a memory, and gratitude sometimes has none. As Trevor's plane landed, tears filled his eyes. Finally, he whispered, "I'm home for good." He didn't know that home was no longer waiting for him. Alina was 26 now, beautiful, sharp, clever, and bitter. She blamed Trevor for many things: for not being her real father, for her mother's loneliness, for the nights Martha cried missing her husband, for the funeral that happened without him. But there was another reason. She never spoke aloud. Trevor's money. After Martha's death, Trevor had sent money regularly, trusting Alina to manage household expenses. What he didn't know was that Alina had grown used to that money. It funded her lifestyle, her trips, her secrets. If Trevor returned permanently, the money would stop. And worse, the house belonged to Trevor. Martha's name was never on the documents. That truth terrified Alina. So when she heard Trevor was coming back for good, something dark woke up inside her. Trevor reached home with a small suitcase and a tired smile. Alina hugged him stiffly. "You must be exhausted," she said sweetly. "You should rest." He smiled, unaware. That night, Trevor slept deeply for the first time in years, and Alina waited. At dawn, she quietly entered his room. She searched his bag. Hands trembling. Then she found it. His passport. The one document that proved who he was. The one thing that allowed him to exist in the system. She stared at it for a long moment. "This ends now," she whispered. Alina didn't hesitate. She left the house early, wrapped the passport in plastic, and walked to a deserted construction area near the river. She tore the passport page by page, then she threw it into muddy water, watching it sink. Gone. When she returned, she acted normal. Trevor woke later and asked casually, "Alina, have you seen my passport? I want to keep it safe." She frowned. "You didn't bring it. Maybe you lost it abroad." Trevor laughed nervously. No, I always keep it with me." They searched again. Nothing. Night. Trevor sat silently on the bed. His hands shook. Without a passport, he couldn't prove residency. He couldn't access his foreign bank accounts. He couldn't return abroad. He couldn't renew documents. He was trapped. An old man in a country that no Alina recognized him. Alina watched quietly, and for the first time, she smiled. Days passed. Alina's behavior changed. She became cold, disrespectful, commanding. "You should eat less," she said. "You don't earn any more." She locked the spare room. She controlled the groceries. She reminded him constantly, "You are dependent now." Trevor tried to reason. "I raised you like my own," he said one night. She laughed. "You were never my father." That sentence broke something inside him. Trevor didn't sleep that night. He stared at the ceiling, thinking of every sacrifice, every dollar sent, every dream postponed. And slowly, painfully, a realization formed. This wasn't carelessness. This was intentional. Someone had stolen his identity. Someone close. Someone he trusted. And for the first time in his life, Trevor felt something he had never allowed himself to feel before. Not anger, not sadness, but cold clarity. "If she thinks I'm finished," he whispered, "she has no idea who she just created." Trevor learned very quickly that anger makes noise, and noise gets you crushed, so he stayed silent. He let Alina believe she had won. Each morning, Trevor woke early. He swept the yard, watered plants, fixed small broken things around the house. To Alina, he looked harmless, useless, defeated. She started giving orders without shame. "Cook your own food. Don't touch my things. You should be grateful I let you stay." Trevor nodded every time. Inside, he was counting. One afternoon, Trevor visited the local municipal office alone. No passport, no ID. Just memory. He waited hours. Finally, an old clerk looked at him carefully. "You worked abroad?" the man asked. "Yes, for decades." "Where?" Trevor named the country. The clerk paused, then quietly said, "My brother worked there too." That was enough. Trevor didn't beg. He didn't cry. He explained dates, companies, addresses, bank names, old work permits, names of supervisors. Memory is a powerful document when spoken with certainty. The clerk leaned back. "This will take time," he said, "but it's not impossible." For the first time since returning, Trevor felt air in his lungs. Without a passport, Trevor couldn't access his main savings, but he remembered something Alina didn't. Years ago, Trevor had opened a secondary local account, almost forgotten, used only for emergency transfers. The account was still active. With help from the clerk's cousin, Trevor accessed it. The balance wasn't huge, but it was enough. Enough to move, enough to plan, enough to survive. Trevor didn't go home that night. He rented a tiny room near the old industrial area, for the first time in weeks. He slept peacefully. Back at the house, Alina noticed Trevor's absence. She didn't panic. She laughed, old fool, probably ran away. She told her fiancé she started selling small household items online, then larger ones, then documents. She believed Trevor was powerless. What she didn't realize was that power doesn't announce itself. One evening, Alina made a careless choice. She met a friend near the river, the same construction area where she had destroyed Trevor's passport. She joked loudly, "Can you believe it? He can't even prove who he is now." Her friend frowned. "What do you mean?" Alina shrugged. "I threw his passport away. Problem solved." She laughed. But someone else was listening. A tea stall owner. A man Trevor used to greet every morning years ago. The man recognized the name Trevor. He remembered the quiet worker who always paid on time. That night, the tea seller walked to the industrial area and found Trevor. When Trevor heard the words, he didn't react. He simply closed his eyes. So it was true, not lost, not misplaced, destroyed by the girl he raised. He thanked the man, paid him generously, and sat alone in his room, not shaking, not crying, planning. From that moment, Trevor stopped thinking like a victim. He thought like a man who had survived decades in foreign lands. He contacted an old coworker, a retired supervisor, a labor union offices. Slowly letters began moving. Records were requested. Names resurfaced. And one powerful thing returned to Trevor's life: credibility. Weeks later, Alina received a call from a bank. About Trevor. Her stomach tightened. How did they find him? She whispered. For the first time, fear touched her confidence. She started calling Trevor. He didn't answer. She visited the municipal office. They refused to speak to her. Something was happening. Something quiet, something she couldn't control. Power doesn't disappear suddenly. It leaks first. Alina felt it leaking from her life. One morning, a registered envelope arrived at the house, not addressed to Alina, addressed to Trevor. Hail. Her hands shook as she opened it anyway. Inside was an official notice from the Foreign Employment Records Authority. Identity verification in progress. Passport reissue approved pending final. Confirmation. Approved. Alina single quotes. The old man wasn't gone, he was coming back. Trevor returned to town 2 weeks later, not to the house. To the courthouse. He walked in wearing a simple suit. Clean.com/unhurried people. Noticed. A former neighbor whispered, "Isn't that Trevor?" The clerk stood up when Trevor entered. That moment alone told the room everything. Trevor didn't shout. He submitted a written statement. Clear, precise, cold, illegal. Destruction of government documents, financial manipulation, property, misuse, emotional coercion of a dependent elderly. A name appeared on every page. By the time the document reached the judge's desk, it was already too late to undo. Police came to the house, not aggressively, politely. That scared her more. They asked questions she couldn't answer. Dates, receipts, messages. She then contradicted herself, then cried. Her fiancé stepped back. This wasn't the confident woman he planned to marry. This was someone being exposed. The tea stall owner testified. So did the municipal clerk. Then came someone Alina never expected: her own friend, the same one she bragged to near the river. Fear changes loyalty, and Alina had bragged too freely. The judge leaned forward. "Do you deny destroying his passport?" Alina hesitated. That pause destroyed her case. "No," she whispered. Silence filled the room. The judge nodded once. That was enough. The court ordered immediate return of Trevor's property rights, freezing of accounts. Alina had accessed criminal charges for document destruction. Alina was allowed to walk free for now, but her name was flagged, her future plans frozen. Her marriage canceled. Her reputation gone. Trevor stood outside the house that night. He didn't enter. He didn't need to. It was his again. Emotionally, it was already dead. He turned and walked away. Days later, Alina came to Trevor's rented room. No makeup, no confidence. She fell to her knees. "I was angry. I was scared. I didn't think." Trevor raised a hand. "I fed you when your mother died," he said calmly. "I defended you when the world doubted you." His voice never rose. "You didn't destroy paper," he continued. "You tried to erase a man," she sobbed. He didn't comfort her. Trevor had one thing left, one decision, not revenge driven by rage, but by truth, a choice that would define how this story ended. Trevor didn't sleep that night. Not because of anger, but because of clarity. For the first time since returning home, he understood something important. He didn't need to destroy Alina. She had already done that herself. 2 weeks later, the final hearing took place. Alina stood alone. Her fiancé had withdrawn. Her friends had vanished. Her confidence had turned to fear. The judge read the verdict slowly. Guilty of destruction of official documents. Guilty of financial exploitation. Guilty of elder abuse. Punishment was firm but fair. Heavy fines. Community service. A permanent legal record. No prison, but no future untouched. Either, Alina cried. Trevor watched without expression after the hearing. Trevor did something no one expected. He withdrew all personal charges related to emotional harm. The courtroom murmured. The judge looked at him. Why? She asked. Trevor answered simply. Because I don't want her to think my life revolves around punishing her. That sentence ended everything. Trevor sold the house, not out of anger, but because memories rot when poisoned. He donated a portion of the money to a workers' legal aid fund, the same kind of people who helped him reclaim his identity. The rest, he saved. Alina met Trevor one last time. She looked smaller. I thought you were weak, she said quietly. Trevor nodded. So did I, he replied. She waited for forgiveness. It didn't come. Instead, he said, you wanted me erased. Instead, you erased yourself from my life. And he walked away. Trevor didn't return abroad. He didn't need to. He opened a small consultancy, helping migrant workers recover lost wages, documents, and dignity. Men came to him broken. He gave them systems, paperwork, strategy, patience. He became something rare, a man who survived betrayal without becoming cruel. Alina moved away. Jobs rejected her. Background checks exposed her. People remembered, not loudly, quietly, which was worse. Years later, Trevor sat on a bench near the river. The same river that swallowed his passport. The sun was warm. His hands were steady. He smiled not because of revenge, but because he had won without losing himself. The strongest revenge isn't punishment. It's reclaiming your life so completely that the betrayer no longer exists in it.